What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the North Shore 9 Postgame Show powered by Primanti Brothers. I'm Jim. With me tonight, we've got Dougie Fresh in the house. Doug, how we doing tonight?
Well, we're fine. We're fine tonight. No surprises. No, nothing unusual happened. Keller had a bad game. That's not shocking at this point of the season. I think the Pirates are 1-7 in his last 8 starts. His ERA is 8 something in those last 8 starts. That's what it comes down to. I mean, he could have pitched to Gem tonight and still suffered the loss, really, because our offense stinks. But he is the focus of tonight's game, right? He is the player of the game in essence. His ERA is now 4.21 on the season. Jim, do you know what Mitch Keller's ERA was last season?
What was it, Doug?
It was 4.21. Mitch Keller is who Mitch Keller is. He is a guy that will give you 2 great months. And that seems to be something that Ben Cherington seeks out, right? Rowdy Tellez gave us 2 good months. Nick Gonzalez has given us 2 good months. Mitch Keller has given us 2 great months. Yasmani Grandal has given us 2 good months. But I mean, Keller, he hit hard, no control. This is a pattern, right? It's now a pattern. He's good early. Something happens, and it doesn't look like he's tired, right? I mean, he looks like a big, strong kid. He still looks like he's got stamina. And all that being said, really, he's still a bargain. Those 2 dominant months he gives you are worth basically what you pay him. And the fact that he starts 30 times a year and he strikes out near 200 and he gives you those innings, he's still worth having him and hoping that you're going to get something better. But I think we just need to realize this is who Mitch Keller is. It's kind of like Brian Hayes. There's more there, and they will have flashes of brilliance. But until they put it all together, I'm done predicting it's going to happen. I'm done expecting it going to happen. Mitch Keller is, now again, this could also leads back to poor coaching staff. And, why haven't they identified what's going on here? Why, this is now 2 seasons in a row. They should change something in his offseason plan or his week to week routine or whatever it is. But when he's on, he's as good as any pitcher in baseball. But he's usually on from May through June, and he can't pitch in Cincinnati and he can't pitch in Atlanta and then he can't pitch in July, August, or September. So,
Doug, I just asked you how you were doing tonight.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, look, I've been waiting. I'm sorry. I jumped. I've been waiting. I've had that in the chamber for quite some time. And, the people have been expecting it. I didn't want to disappoint. I wanted to just get right to it.
All right. So we'll get into Keller. We'll get into some other stuff. Pirates lose. We haven't even said it. Pirates lose 8-3 today.
8-3. Never in a game.
Keller wasn't great. Oneil Cruz did join the 2020 club. So we'll talk a little bit about that too. But before we get to any of that, Bet Online, Doug. It is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number 1 source for everything football. Bet Online is every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. Think you know your stuff? Get in on our $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at weekly prizes and a share of $200,000. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our over 150 slot games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Bet Online. The game starts here. And, like you so eloquently put that, The game
Maybe not
does
eloquently.
it was just it didn't start well. It didn't go well during the middle parts. The Pirates, I guess you could say they finished strong tonight, but they were already down 8-0 when that happened. But yeah, I mean let's just kind of kick things off. Red started the scoring in the first inning with a Tyler Stevenson solo homer. That wasn't the first time we would hear his name tonight. 410-foot homer off of a 90-mile-per-hour sinker off of Mitch Keller, just to kind of give you an idea. And that pitch was directly down the middle. Then I did think, Keller had a good second inning. You strike out, foul ball, fly out. But the third inning is when it kind of, spiraled out of control for him. And it just kind of, I think the third inning was like the story of the night for Keller. He didn't have his command today. He didn't have his stuff today. And so when you don't have your command or your stuff, it's hard to be effective. He walks Will Benson to lead off the third. He walks Jonathan India. He gives up a single.
Who had been 0 for 9. Had been 0 for 9 against Keller at that point.
So he put himself in a bad spot in that third inning. And then Stevenson came back up, who just hit a home run off of him and hits a bases clearing 3-run double. At that point, it's 4-0, and you're like, this thing might be over. Then he walks TJ Friedel, his third walk of the inning, gives up another run on a sacrifice fly, and then by the time the inning's over, it's 5-0. And you're pretty much out of it. He goes back out for the fourth, gives up a homer to Jonathan India, walks Ellie. He gets a stolen base, gives up another hit to Stevenson, who just had a really good game today. Gives up a double to Spencer Steer, and then he's finally pulled from the game with a 7-0 deficit in the fourth inning. Yeah, probably. This was probably, Doug, this was his worst start of the year.
I think so. Yeah,
he's had a couple clunkers, especially in August. You mentioned like the ERA over the last 8 or so games. He's been pretty good his last 5 starts. 0 runs, 3 runs, 3 runs, 2 runs, 3 runs. Like, he's been effective his last 5 starts. He had 2 really bad starts on that West Coast trip. But this is probably his worst start. He didn't get through the fourth inning. He gives up the 8 earned runs today, 7 hits, 5 walks. He just didn't have it today. I am, however, going to push back when you say that, like, maybe he's not that good. This is who he is. I mean, I think you have to kind of take a step back here and say this is a bad Pirates baseball team. Mitch Keller, the Pirates are 7th, even after today, even after losing 7 of his last 8 starts. The Pirates are still 17-13 when Mitch Keller starts. Like, that's a pretty good pace. 17-13 when Mitch Keller starts. That's what, a 65% winning percentage. You extrapolate the 65% winning percentage over a 162 game season, and that's a 105 win pace. When Mitch Keller's on the mound. So I want everybody to take a step back and just say, like, hey, baseball's a long season. You're gonna go through rough patches. Again, like, he's a good pitcher. When you have a bad few starts, it doesn't erase your entire season. Fangraphs going into today has Mitch Keller is the number 43 ranked starting pitcher in Major League Baseball. That's a solid number 2 starting pitcher. I mean, that's who he is. Is he an ace? No, he's not. He's not an ace, but he's a solid number 2 pitcher on an average Major League Baseball team.
Yeah, maybe. I don't really see him as a number 2 at this point. He's had 30 starts, 15 quality starts. His ERA coming into May was 5.15. He was terrible in April. He was great in May and June. And since then, mediocre at best, right? A couple really good starts, but mostly, I don't know.
He's had, Doug, since July 8th, he's had 3 starts where he gave up more than 3 runs. Like he's been a very reliable pitcher, and so like I'm gonna push back.
He's definitely he's definitely reliable,
good.
and I don't know. It's hard for me to get too enthused about a 4.21 ERA. It's hard for me to get enthused about half your starts being quality starts, and you know it's again. You bad start in April when you know I just expect more from him, and I don't know whose fault it is anymore, right? You're right, he's not terrible. I don't want him off this team. I hope that maybe some guys come up and sort of push him a little farther down in the rotation. That'd be great, but yeah, I you know.
That was all. I got my numbers mixed. It's 56.
Yeah. He was
still
doing math in his
still
head
pretty good
on live, you know, during a live show. Yeah, y'all could have.
Yeah, I'm doing math on the fly here.
Bridge to Bucktober, Josh there always has good stuff, and he, you know, his 360 RAs, and that's absolutely fine. I am being a little harsh, and part of it is because I have high expectations for Keller. To me, he's like Brian Hayes in that we know it's in there. There is more in there than we're getting on a consistent basis. And that's where my frustration is. You know, I'm not mad when Bailey Falter has this kind of stretch, right? Because Bailey Falter is already overachieved, regardless what happens if he makes 2 more starts this season. Luis Ortiz has already overachieved. But with Mitch Keller, I feel like he's underachieving. And you're right. It doesn't mean he's terrible. I don't want to run him out of town. You know what I'm saying? I know it's been my shtick a little bit, but Mitch Keller is a really good pitcher. I would just like to see him be a little more consistent and just a little better. He's got it. He has the skill. He's got the repertoire. He's healthy and durable, and you know all this other stuff he gives you. Right? Like I said, he's earning his money. We're getting him he's a bargain for what we're paying him, for what we're getting out of him. It's just I get frustrated and a little disappointed because you see what he does in May and June and then even July, and then you get these. And again, everybody's entitled to a bad outing, but again, 15 of 30 quality starts. Can we go 20 and 10 maybe? What kind of difference might that make? You know.
Yeah, I understand the frustration in a bad outing, and he definitely hasn't been as good the second half as he was, you know, May, June, July. Like May he was unbelievably good. June he was pretty good too. July he was good. So it definitely
I would take 6 months of his July,
finish.
right?
Yeah, it hasn't been a strong finish for him, but I think he's got to kind of take a step back. There's 31, 32 starts in a season. And like I said, this is a bad baseball team with a bad offense, and somehow they've won more than half of Mitch Keller's starts. There's
something to be said. You're right.
So.
There really is. It's right. I would not be shocked if this is just, you know, the Pirates losing, wearing down these guys, right? This is, you know, it's got to take its toll. That you know, here we are again, year 5 of a rebuild, and you know, 2.5 games out of 4th place in the division. So, yeah.
I hear you, Doug. It was a frustrating start. It's been a frustrating 7 weeks or so. I think we can just say that, just in general.
That's for sure.
Let's pivot though to something that's not that frustrating. And I mean, he has his frustrating moments, but I want to talk about Oneil Cruz a bit. So the Pirates,
you wanted to talk about Matson. Okay.
Yeah, we'll get to Matson, but we're not going to spend a ton of time on him. But I mean, the Pirates were already out of the game. It was 8-0. But in the top of the 7th, Oneil Cruz homered to center field, cut the lead to 8-1. But when he did that, it was his 20th home run of the season. He really picked up the stolen bases this last 2 months, and so he eclipses the 2020 mark. He's the first player to do that in the Ben Cherington era. He's the first Pirate to do that since Starling Marte did it in 2019. He becomes the third Pirate ever to do that at age 25 or younger. Only Andrew McCutchen and Barry Bonds accomplished that. And he's the 10th Pirate of all time to accomplish this feat. So I know it maybe doesn't stack up to Shohei Ohtani's 50-50, Doug, but 2020, I know it's not really like what it used to be, I think, just with the way that the power and speed game has kind of taken over baseball with the bigger bases and the pitching roles. But it's still quite an accomplishment. This is his first full season of Major League Baseball. Like we have to remember that. He came up in the middle of 2022, played a half a year. 2023 missed almost the entire season with an injury. This is his first full year playing baseball, and he put up a 2020 season.
Coming off a pretty injury, right? Yeah, that was coming off a pretty brutal injury where we were all curious. We weren't sure how he was going to look, how he was going to come back. He struggled a little in the beginning of the season. He's gotten better as the season's gone on. He hits lefties better. He's made a position change. I mean, he has accomplished quite a bit right here in these last couple months. His attitude seems, I mean, all of the sort of question marks are being erased with him. And I've always said the worst part of the Ben Cherington era is we never get answers to the questions. We come to the season and say, who's going to be second base? Who's going to be, and we never get an answer. We're still, 5 years later looking for a right fielder, 5 years later, but Oneil Cruz has answered some questions this year. It's easy to look at him and get excited about what's coming, what he'll be capable. He's sacrificed a little power. I think he's young. I think, power comes a little bit later. I would not be surprised next year if he had quite a breakout season. All arrows pointing up for what he's done. You're right. 2020 is not what it once was. But nothing is. The game is different. And, we just, have to take, what he's doing is just terrific. And I don't care how, you can't compare anybody to Shohei Ohtani, right? I don't want to compare anybody to Ricky Henderson or any of these kind of guys. No one else has done this, in the Ben Cherington era for the Pirates. He's still young. He doesn't have 2 complete seasons in. He's still learning. He's, he's overcome the injury. He's overcome position change. He's overcome bad baseball and probably bad coaching and definitely bad, organization to get where he is, tip of the cap. I think he's had an outstanding season. And I think he's only going to get better.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. What's interesting too, I don't know if you want to count him as an infielder, but he did play most of the season as an infielder. First infielder, Pirates infielder to do this since Kevin Young did it in 1999. But yeah, you look at this list of guys who have done this. It's not a long list. And the Pirates have been around for a long time, and the Pirates have historically had pretty good offensive players. You're talking about Dave Parker, Andy Van Slyke, Barry Bonds, Andrew McCutchen, Starling Marte, and then like Nate McLouth did it once, Jason Bay did it once,
right?
Yeah, Al Martin and Kevin Young. So it's a pretty small list of Pirates throughout their history who have achieved this, and the fact that he did it in his first full season is pretty cool. And I want to say, like, someone asked here, Dave asked, are you disappointed in Cruz's season overall? And I think what's funny about it is, like, if you look at the whole body of work and you're like, this is a pretty good year. The batting average is way higher than I would have ever expected out of Cruz. He's like raised his on base percentage quite a bit. Like it's a pretty good season overall that he's put together. Like, he's going to end up with 3.5 WAR season in his first full season. But, like, am I disappointed in it? I think I'm maybe a little disappointed in the power. Like, I would like to see more of it, but I think that's something also that we're just going to continue to see him develop and get better at. Today's homer again against the lefty, he's gotten a lot better against lefties. I think that's a really good sign for his future. Before it was like, is this guy a platoon player? Like, can you even play this guy versus lefties? Now you feel very comfortable putting him in the lineup every single day, no matter who's on the mound. And that's
he doesn't have to bat 7th or 8th, right?
Yeah,
you can bat him 3rd.
And there's not a lot of players on this team who can do that, like who can hit both righties and lefties, and you feel comfortable about it. So, yeah, I mean, am I disappointed in this season? I would have liked to see a little bit better, and I think the reality of of like what this team needs in order to succeed. This team, in order to be who we want them to be, needs a superstar.
Yes.
On, they need one like that. We just got done playing the Royals, right? And you look and you compare the two teams, and like on paper, they're pretty similar across the board, except one guy. The Royals have one guy who's an absolute superstar, and he has pretty much taken the Royals, put them on his back, and is leading them back to the playoffs. The Pirates need a player like that. The last time the Pirates were in the playoffs, they had a player like that with Andrew McCutchen. So it's like, in order for the Pirates to get to where they need to be, they need a player like that. They need an MVP candidate on their roster that's not a pitcher, right? And I'm like, because Paul Skeens is that as a pitcher, but like, you need someone playing every day who's a difference
every
maker.
day.
And the only person I think who's capable of being that guy on this team, maybe even in this entire organization, is Oneil Cruz. So it's like, is a 3.5 win season a disappointment? Overall, no, but like in the grand scheme of things, it's like, yeah, because in order for the Pirates to be what we want them to be, he does have to be better. Like he's got to be better, right? And that's not a knock on him. Like I'm super high on him. I think he's gonna have a really good career. I think he's a really good baseball player. But like, yeah, like if the Pirates want to take a step forward and actually be a playoff team, they need Oneil Cruz to be in MVP talks, right? That's what they need.
You're right. I mean, they need somebody, and you're right. He's the most likely candidate. Brian Reynolds is what Brian Reynolds is, a very good, solid player, all-star type player. But you're right. We need a top 5 MVP candidate. We need a guy that the other teams are figuring out how to pitch to. That's the big focus. They need to take their whole approach of how are we going to handle Oneil Cruz, and he has to be able to adjust to that and still have an impact, right? He needs to be in the middle of the lineup every day. He needs to be right. He needs to steal more bases. And again, he hardly had any stolen bases in the first half season, but he definitely needs more power. Today's game is based, so much now on hitting the ball over the fence. 20 is a nice number. But we need a good, 50. Well, do your math, but we need 56 or percent more than that or so, right? And he's capable. He is capable. You're right, and that's sort of what we were hoping for him and sort of expecting for him. It's slightly a disappointment, but for me, just based on the finish, it's sort of taken a little of that sour taste away. Had this just been a steady, consistent thing, but no, he really struggled early. He was not stealing bases early. He was not hitting. At the beginning of the season, I think I may have tweeted out that he's Pedro Alvarez without the launch angle, right? Because he couldn't hit lefties. He was terrible defensively, and right. I wasn't mad that he was batting 7th against lefties. Now I want to see him 3rd or 4th, every game. The improvement he's made against lefties is very impressive. His batting average, like you said, I never, and especially in today's game, I just never thought his batting average would be where it is. And now he is lighting it up on the base paths. I think playing center field is going to maybe unlock some of that too. And and God, I do this. I did it with Hayes, after Hayes' strong finish last year. It's like, here we come. And but no, this seems very real, very sustainable. And I can see 6 months of him just, I can see 60 stolen bases out of him. I can see 30. I can see them mentioning him in some of these. Wow, 30, 60, pretty good. Not a lot of guys in that club, so
yeah.
I'm enthused about what he's doing.
I agree. Like, I mean, this year, 2020, and again, this is his first full season. He gets 2020. I really think, and like I said, there's Parliament Films has it all in the comments here, but yeah, like if he can just increase his I mean, because he hits the ball extremely hard. He just
Right.
needs to barrel it up more and hit the ball in the air just a little bit more.
A little
And
more.
home runs are going to come, and they're going to come easily if he can get that part down. And yeah, the speed part of his game, like the stolen bases, has been very refreshing. Since the All-Star break, 15 steals and 15 attempts. He hasn't been caught. So
Right.
you think of like how he's turned on the production on the bases. He's turned it on at the plate. You look at those things and you say, okay, well, 2020 this year, what can he do next year? Like, can he do 30-30 next year? And it's, I don't think 30-30 is out of the question for Oneil
No.
Cruz by any means.
He certainly got the gifts, the physical gifts to do that. And he's shown, he has shown the power. I mean, there's no doubt that the power's there, right? He hits the ball hard. It will take some adjustment and some work, but he's definitely got the power. And we're seeing the speed. I mean, the kid's a dynamic athlete. And, what you want to see from your best players is that they continue to improve. And that's what we're seeing this year. That's the thing that has me most excited. He's not that he's had like this MVP season, but he's not resting on it. He's trying to get better. He's working at it, and you can see it's paying off. The results are there, and if there's anything I'm really looking forward to next season is full season of Paul Skeens and a full season of Oneil Cruz doing what he's been doing here over the past several weeks.
Yep, I agree. Real quick, after the Cruz homer, Pirates did add on 2 more runs in the 9th inning. Cruz singled, Kutch singled, Bart singled, Tellez singled. So they scratched 2 more runs across to get the game to 8-3, which is where it ended. Before we get away from here, though, I guess let's talk about Isaac Matson. We're not going to spend too much time on him, but 29 years old from Erie, Pennsylvania. He went to Pitt, kind of been toiling around pro ball in multiple different leagues and levels for a while. I think he had pitched in 4 professional baseball games up to this, 3 major league games up to this point, 4 games for the Baltimore Orioles in 2021. The first ever Washington Wild thing, Doug, to play for the Pittsburgh Pirates. So I mean, it's just, I guess if you're 10 games under 500 in September, you're looking for some kind of cool story. So, you got the Western Pennsylvania kid, went to Pitt, put in a lot of work. He's been grinding throughout, independent leagues and the minor leagues for forever. And he looked good tonight. I had 2 scoreless innings, 2 strikeouts. I don't think he even gave up a hit. Like, just, yeah, good story. Isaac Matson, his first.
I'm already more confident in him than I am David Bednar. So there you go.
There you go.
Yeah, it's a nice story. You like to see the guys that have put in the work, that stick with it, get a chance and do something with it. The bullpen was good tonight, right? You got, I think, 4 1/3 innings out of the bullpen tonight.
Joey Wentz with 2 2/3 scoreless before Matson.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's like I said, the local kid. He's had a better start to his career than Kenny Pickett did. What can so?
That's a good point.
So good for him.
Better start to his Pittsburgh career. Yeah.
Pittsburgh career. That's what I should say.
Yeah, it did take him a long time to get here, but so Isaac Matson, congratulations, all that. He's 29 years old. So is what it is. So good feel.
Let him get 2 weeks of a major MLB paycheck and
get him. Get him a nice paycheck. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
You got anything else you want to talk about, Doug?
No. It's we've said it all. We've said it all for 156 games, or 100, how many ever games it is now at this point. But 72 and 82, 154 good time.
I will say this. So the game, it was good crowd, 40,000 in attendance, Doug, because it was not only was a fireworks night, Nelly post-game concert
Nelly.
in Cincinnati
Nelly,
tonight.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I was going to go to this game tonight, but I didn't realize it was a Nelly concert. And honestly, I would have liked to have, I would have stayed for the Nelly concert had I gone to this game. But
Sure. Yeah,
I was
why
like,
not?
you know what? These tickets are probably too much for me to spend on a meaningless Pirates Reds game in September. So I decided against
a
it.
battle between the 4th and 5th place teams in the division.
I was gonna go until I mean, for like a decent seat, like it was gonna cost like $100 for a decent seat to this game. I was like, yeah, I'm not. I don't like
Yeah,
Nelly that much.
Right.
So yeah, no, it was a bad game. 8-3 loss. Hopefully the rest of this weekend is better. Tomorrow, let's see, game time 1:10. It's an afternoon game right in the middle of your college football games this afternoon, next afternoon. But pitching matchup, interesting pitching matchup tomorrow. Jared Jones versus Rhett Lauder. I think Lauder's only made 4 starts so far this year, and he's looked pretty good for the Reds. So he was there.
I predict that he will set a career high. He'll set a career high for strikeouts tomorrow. I'm feeling very confident.
Right now, his career high is 6.
Can we bet that on Bet Online?
You probably can.
Oh yeah,
career
7 in the 4th inning. He'll probably do it by the 4th inning. So
you know what? That's not a bad bet to make. Not a bad bet.
No. Go to Bet Online, boys and girls.
All right. Well, thank you all for tuning in tonight. Like I said, awful game. So appreciate you guys hopping in here. If you're listening or watching this after the fact, you guys are awesome. Like the video if you haven't already. Subscribe to the page if you haven't yet. Hit the little bell so you get notified. Hopefully we're giving away some sandwiches tomorrow. I accidentally left the sandwich thing on this whole time, so I'm gonna take the sandwich thing off. No sandwiches today. But yeah, that's all I got. We'll be back tomorrow. Check you all later.
See you guys.
Hey, you all. Thank you for watching. I know we try to provide the most entertaining content that we can, and we'd love to spread it to as many people as possible. So I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you could take the 5 seconds to like this video and subscribe to the page, it helps out so much more than you know. Thank you, and let's go Bucks.